Greetings my friends and welcome to No Nonsense Metal Reviews. I'm George and today we have another live Killers show for you. Another live album recommendation. If you're not familiar with it, really want to check it out because I think it's a superb show. A highly enjoyable listen. So, today's recommendation comes from one of the pioneering and one of the most important bands from the new wave of British heavy metal. I'm talking about the mighty Diamond Head. This album, entitled It's Electric, taking its title from the track from their classic debut album Lightning to the Nations, It's Electric. It was recorded live at the London Astoria on the 4th of November 2005. So getting on for 18 years ago now. The band is on fire at this point. This is a genuinely brilliant live performance. We've got a bit of a rejuvenated band here. The full lineup is Mr. Carl Wilcox on drums, Eddie Moohan on bass, we've got Mills on guitar, then we've got Mr. Brian Tatler, the guitar legend himself, on guitars obviously, and then we've got Nick Tart on vocals. So Sean Harris is out of the band by this point. This album was from the tour of the All Will Be Revealed album. In my opinion, an underrated album. I think that's a good album overall. I think it's got some great tracks there and the best feature on this live show. So, if you're not familiar with Diamond Head, as I've mentioned, they were part of the new wave of British heavy metal, the NWOBHM, and they are one of my favourites from that movement. They absolutely set the scene ablaze with their Lightning to the Nations album, full of classics, contains some of my favourite heavy metal material. But also elsewhere they had Borrowed Time as well, another fantastic album. Canterbury let things go a little bit. I just can't quite connect with that album in the same way. But Death and Progress, another solid album of theirs. And I also think that All Will Be Revealed is a good album. But this live show, we get some classics and we get some new material, and it's just a really enjoyable listen. Sound-wise, it's really good. Brian's guitar, his iconic sound and style, translates really well. Nick sounds brilliant actually live, and Carl's drumming is top-notch. You can't fault the musicianship at all. So they open the set list with the intro of Am I Evil, their classic song. Without a doubt, their most well-known and most popular songs. So influential on the likes of Metallica and Megadeth, Slayer, presumably. One of the big inspirations to the growing, certainly in its infancy there, but growing thrash metal scene, before bursting into It's Electric, a classic track from that first album, as I mentioned there. Then we've got Give It To Me, which is from the All Will Be Revealed album. Solid live rendition there. It's just good, groovy, melodic heavy metal. Some really good riffs there. Just an enjoyable listen. Then we've got The Prince. So full of groove. That is such a catchy riff to that track from that debut album. Then we've got Mine, All Mine. Another track from the All Will Be Revealed album. A good, solid song there. Enjoyable one. Then we've got a classic here. We've got Lightning to the Nations, the title track of their debut album. Sterling live performance there. It's a really uplifting heavy metal track. Some killer riffs there. Absolutely love that one. Fallen Angel, again from the newest album at this point. Then we've got To the Devil His Due, which is from Canterbury, which is probably the best track from that album. So an obvious choice, but they do a good live version of that one there. Alimony from the new album, a good song. Probably one of the album highlights for me, in my opinion. I Can't Help Myself, another good song. Sucking My Love, terrible song title, that one. Very sleazy and dirty, but it's a great track, actually. Some killer riffs there, so iconic. And what always strikes me about the material from that classic debut album is just how good it is, how original and how memorable it is. They were young guys then, the whole scene was in its infancy, but that is the quality, the grade of material that we would expect from a band who had been around for years and years and had released a handful of albums, maybe more, but were very experienced, or shall we say, very achieved, successful band or musicians. But it just sounds great. It's so ahead of its time. It's so ahead of their actual status. Then we've got Streets of Gold, a single from around the time of the first album, I believe. It might have come out a little bit before or a little bit afterwards, not too sure, but it's early in their career anyway. Then we've got Helpless and the absolute classic Am I Evil? That hugely influential song. It's one of my all-time favourite songs. Absolutely superb live performance here. That riff, so heavy, it's thrashing, it's heavy as hell. Absolutely love that one. It's a really dark, sinister track. Brilliant live performance though, as I say, and to be honest, it's probably the highlight of this live album. But we get In the Heat of the Night from Borrowed Time, closing out the album there. That's 15 tracks with the intro included, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels like a really enjoyable, really well-flowing album. In the Heat of the Night sounds great. That is a far more melodic, much slower paced track. Sounds fantastic. Really, really great song. That's a slow burner, but a brilliant number. A good way to close the set list, I'd say. So, Diamond Head, It's Electric, a live killer in my opinion. I've listened to it a couple of times recently. I remembered that it was a good live album. I hadn't listened to it in, maybe a year. I think I bought it on Amazon or eBay and it was a couple of quid new, and I thought, I like Diamond Head, so it's another thing for the collection, and I do like live albums. And I was genuinely surprised when I heard it of just how good it is. But I do think that Diamond Head are such an underrated band, way too often overlooked as a result of frequent lineup changes and long periods of time between releases. It just held them back. But the quality of those first two albums, Diamond Head should have been so much bigger, and I know that a lot of people also share that opinion. So if you haven't heard this album, which I'm sure there's going to be many of you that haven't, do check it out. It is a brilliant live album from the mighty Diamond Head, one of the best heavy metal bands ever. They are a great band. Certainly those, as I mentioned, those two first albums of theirs, brilliant albums. Death and Progress is a really good album as well. I like All Will Be Revealed and What's in Your Head as well. Another good album, strong album. But their last couple of releases, the self-titled Diamond Head album and the sterling Coffin Train, those are of impeccable quality. With their newest vocalist, Rasmus, fantastic voice. The band, they are heavier than they have ever been. It's great stuff. But It's Electric, check it out. Let me know what you think. I'm interested to hear other people's thoughts and opinions of this fine live album. Let me know what you think, my friends. But do take care. Thanks again for watching. Check back soon for more reviews and recommendations. Feel free to like and subscribe. And as always, stay heavy.